Okay y'all, I'm back with another video. I've had some declutters here and there, but this is the first one since I took a like 2-week vacation. You bet there was some damage done at Sephora while I was gone, and it was just ready and waiting. So I'm going to show you what I got during the Spring Sephora Sale, and I'm also going to supplement a whole full face of brands that you can find at Sephora. Let's go ahead and get into it. First up, I'm going to be trying the new DreamBeam sunscreen from KOSAS. I did not purchase this in the sale. They did send it to me. I have not tried it yet, but I'm very excited. I am going to do 3 finger lengths. That is supposedly the easiest way to measure out a 1/4 teaspoon so you get the right amount. This is SPF 45, and it's supposed to have just a subtle glow to it. It is tinted, so that should keep the white cast down to a minimum. It has a little bit of a slip, but it's not overly hydrating. It's kind of sitting somewhere in the middle for me. So it is going to be interesting to see how this sits underneath foundation. It is a mineral SPF, and on the back it says wear alone or as the perfect base for makeup, so we'll be the judge of that. My skin is not adjust to being back. I have all these teeny tiny little bumps all over my skin, and I'm hoping it's just my skin trying to adjust. I have recently come back from Italy, so as soon as my skin got used to the water and food and everything, I came back to the States and my skin is paying the price, so hopefully it decides to calm down soon. And I've just been shaking up my Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. I wear the shade 12C. I did not get this in the sale. I've had it for a while, and it is a reliable skin tint. I like to wear it especially now as it's getting warmer outside, because this is not like a overly dewy, make your skin look like the greasiest piece of fried chicken tint. This is more of a like natural finish, so it looks like skin, but it's not dry. This too has SPF 20 in it. It looks good even when my skin is super textured like it is right now. And this doesn't sit in my fine lines or rankles. Rankles. I can definitely tell that the KOSAS sunscreen has given me a little bit more glow than this tinted moisturizer does on its own. So thank you very much for that. And then I'm going to go in with the new GloWish Brightening Concealer. I wear the shade Porcelain. Also didn't get this during the sale. This was sent to me. You're like, girl, did you even buy anything in the sale? Yes, but not a lot. So there's a lot of substitutions going on. I really like this concealer, but I can definitely not blame anybody for not liking it, because it is such a thin formula. The coverage is pretty low. I have even just applied it all over as my entire base product. I just like how skin-like it looks, and the fact that it doesn't sit heavy under my eyes. Just a little life update. I did, like I said, go to Italy. I met up with my husband because he had like a week of R&R. He is currently deployed. So we decided to meet in Rome, and we did all the touristy things. We saw so many statues and buildings and architecture. Of course, the Colosseum. We spent most of our time in Italy in Rome. We had some amazing food. Our hotel was super nice. We kind of went all out because we don't know when the next time we are going to have an opportunity like this to go to Italy. We went to a hotel, we had a spa room. It was like, you know, just what dreams are made of. This product I did pick up from the sale. Woo, finally. I saw the Cherry Blossom Cake Powder from Huda in stock, and I immediately added it to cart because I love my 1-inch sugar cookie so much. And I wanted to see what the hype was about, honestly. Everybody is just up in arms about pink powders right now, which is not a new concept. Think about Ben Nye. They've been doing colored powders like this for forever. Things get hyped these days, and sometimes it's for good reason, and sometimes it's just like, okay, we get it. For we say, you know, that was popular 12 years ago. Where have y'all been? That's how I feel, especially about TikTok and makeup trends. I'm like, this has been a thing we've all been doing for a long time. Like, why are we losing our minds over it? I'm just going to set my under eyes with this powder. After we spent a few days in Rome, we went to Venice. I don't know if I would go back to Rome, just because it was so crowded and that's not what I like. But I would definitely go back to Venice. It was also crowded. We went on and around Easter, so of course it's going to be crowded. But Venice was much more my vibe. Okay, I just love the formula of this powder. And right now I'm kind of leaning towards preferring Sugar Cookie, just because it's pure white and that definitely brightens me. I don't feel like this is as bright as like the concealer on its own, but that could be my eyes playing tricks on me. Like I said, Venice was the vibe. I love how many little shops there are. It seemed like the people were just friendlier and it was so fascinating to be a little tourist and have a gondola ride and just see how being a city built on the water affects their everyday life. We have a garage that we pull up to, and they have like a dock that they pull up to, and there's basically like little caverns in people's apartments, and that's where they park their boats and enter their house. And then he was talking about the post office and fire station is all by boat, and we actually got to see the little red fire truck boats. It was so cool. It's such a different way of life to what I'm used to because I live out on the country. And we also visited some neighboring islands of Murano, where they're famous for their glass blowing and sculpting. We watched a little demonstration and he just making a horse out of glass look like it was easy. It literally only took him like a couple minutes. And that is such a hard skill to have, and for him to just, you know, whip it out. Poor choice of words. For him to just create it on the spot like that. He could probably do it in his sleep, but it was still very impressive to me. I'm taking the HAUS Labs Power Sculpt Light Level 1 bronzer. I did not purchase this during this sale. And we also visited Murano, which has the handmade lace. And they were telling us that the art of making lace is fastly fleeting because it is passed down from generation to generation, and the young people that are growing up right now are not interested in creating lace. The locals just said they are competing against technology. Handheld devices and computers have the young generation's attention more than tradition and making lace. So she was like, basically, we only survive off of tourism and we need help because COVID hit us really hard. And I believe it. I can't imagine. I'm gonna take Hibiscus Haze from HAUS Labs as well. Already in my collection. These are super pigmented, highly saturated blushes. So if you're fair like me, just gotta go in with a little bit of a lighter hand, but I would rather that than there not be shades for everyone. The formula is similar to the bronzer, where it's like a gel powder hybrid. Very smooth on the skin. We also had the privilege to eat at a Michelin star restaurant on Murano called the Black Cat. I had the best risotto I've ever had in my life there. And they made homemade tiramisu, and it was also the best tiramisu I've ever had. I like a strong coffee flavor to my tiramisu, and I had tried some throughout Rome that just was not enough. Didn't pack enough punch for me. My over-sensationalized American palate was not having it. That's something I did notice, that a lot of the foods were not as rich as I was expecting, because you hear about the pastas and how indulgent everything is, but it really was not, especially in Venice. Venice is much more focused on seafood for obvious reasons. Not the biggest seafood eater, but I did try to expand my horizons. I had the best fish I've ever had. I now really know that I like sea bass. Woo. Highlight with the Rare Beauty highlighter in Enlighten. Not purchased during this sale, but you can find it at Sephora. I'm gonna try to be sparingly with this, but it packs a punch. I just dipped in once and I did both cheeks and my nose. If you haven't tried this before and you don't like super intense highlighters. This might not be your favorite. I will say using a bigger brush, this is just the same one I used for blush, which will help. And I'm dipping back into the blush. I'm going to build that over the highlighter, kind of do a blush, highlighter, blush sandwich. That way that highlighter looks like it's really coming from within. Moving on to a palette that you can get at Sephora. This is the Huda Beauty Matte Obsessions palette in the Cool Matte variety. A beautiful 9-pan palette. These are my tones. I absolutely love them. These two shades right here are actually creams. So I'm going to use the one in the very middle on a DECAY Beauty 210 brush. Anytime I get the chance to travel, I will take it. I lived my whole life being afraid of flying because I have like irrational fear of heights. After going to Germany in January and now Italy, I just feel like I'm the worst case scenario. Still have that fear in the back of my mind that my plane is the plane that's going to be on the news, that something crazy is going to happen. But I really just try to tell that side of my brain to shut up, because the likelihood of that happening is like slim to none. I've been on like 6 cruises, but every time I'm like, this is the one that's going to get caught in a storm and sink. I mean, excuse my French, but what the hell? Brain, like, why the sabotage? I don't understand. I'm also taking that same shade with the same brush on my lower lash line. I don't understand how somebody as goofy as myself has all these really invasive thoughts. What is that? The neighbor is carrying an animal that is not alive. He just like fussed at his dog for trying to get to it. What in the world? And I just take my medicine and take my meds and hope for the best. Like literally every day, that's all I can do. And I am now taking a little fluffier brush, the DECAY Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy 503 brush. And this shade right here, when my husband first deployed last August, I decided that I was going to focus on myself and do the things that scare me and do the things that I would be proud of someone else for, if that makes sense. I had the opportunity to go to Germany. I was terrified. We had already planned to meet up in Italy later in the year. But when he told me some of the wives were coming to visit and that I could as well, I had just started this social media journey full-time, left my job, left my very secure job, government job. I just was like, okay, why not? Kind of hesitant. The same brush I'm going in with the very middle shade. It is a very pale, pale light pink. Just buff out the edges with that shade all around. So ever since I basically said yes to going on that trip in January, I was like, this is the year. This is my moment to literally transform. I got a tattoo of a butterfly. I got a tattoo of a dead moth. Butterflies, I have been seeing them, I mean, everywhere since my husband deployed. And, you know, the whole 90s trends are coming back and butterflies are like a huge part of that. So I've been seeing them everywhere. But before that, real butterflies, butterfly jewelry, butterflies on shirts, purses, tablecloths, everything. I was like, this is some kind of sign that I am transforming. And whether that's true or not, that's how I'm taking it. So I joined a gym. I quit my job. I'm trying to do this, trying to pump out more YouTube videos. So I've really adapted this mentality of lip balm. It's like the world is changing rapidly around you. There's no time to just sit in your house and be afraid to do things, because one day you'll woulda, shoulda, coulda yourself. I didn't want to have those feelings because I'm the only one harboring them. Time out. I did purchase this in the Sephora Spring Sale. This is Zari Eyes eyeshadow from KULFI Beauty in Sitara Sparkles. It's like a little putty. Apply it to my lids with a Spectrum and a KJH number 14 brush. So, long story short, I've just decided to do the things that I've always wanted to do the scary things, because life is scary already, so you might as well face a fear and find something you enjoy in the process. And look how pretty that shadow is. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's like a rosy color with some silver sparkle. If you are not as fussy as me, you could totally just apply this with your finger. This in low lighting is going to look amazing. Add it to the lower lash line as well. And why I decided to try to do social media full-time, because literally, I know people say this, but it's literally always been something I've wanted to do. I knew that, but I didn't realize how true that was until a recent visit with my parents. They found home video of me with Legos. I had a stack of Legos, and I was talking to the camera because it's a home video, and I took the Legos, I like opened it, and I was like, okay guys, this is what you do now. And I was applying Lego makeup, talking to the camera. And like, I was like 2 or 3. So this is something that I will always look back and wonder, could I have done it? Should I? Would I? Could I? I don't want those thoughts in my head anymore. I'm taking the chance. I'm giving myself the time to grow. It has been very hard. I'm going in with this most deep shade in this palette. It's been hard, not because, oh, this is harder than my regular job. No, I used to work with children, kindergarten through 5th grade. There are very few things harder than working with children, but it's hard in terms of comparison. But I'm really grateful that brands are... I'm going to take the lightest shade. It's almost white, but it has a hint of pink on, just on that same brush. And again, just hit my edges. It's really nice because brands these days are leaning more towards ethos and an aesthetic versus numbers. The longer that cream shadow sits on my lids, and like the more depth, the more depth that I put around it, the more it's just really popping. I'm going to take the Rare Beauty highlighter as well and place that in the inner corner. Put it underneath my brow as well. I picked up one of the new Urban Decay 24/7 inks. I got the shade Binge. I love the ergonomic handle here. It's so nice to hold on to. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I don't want to just do a regular line. Maybe some dots, maybe something graphic. Let's just see what happens. I enjoy this formula. I have heard though that some of these are like hit and miss. This one doesn't give me any problems coming out of the pen. I don't find that I have to sit there and constantly shake it. I do love that it is a brush tip. That's my preferred tip for an eyeliner. I know it's kind of lame, but I think that's, I mean, I don't want to do 4 because you need odd numbers. How creamy and how easily it glides. Since I'm not really showing you on my lid. So, not a lot of feathering, which is important. And there's not a patchy sheerness in any of those lines, so definitely would recommend trying out a color of these liners. It was super easy to use, and I really enjoy it. Okay, I already did one lash. Ignore that. For lashes, I'm going in with the Tower 28 MakeWaves mascara, and then my eyebrows are currently tinted, but I am going to run some KOSAS Airbrow in the shade Auburn through those, and I want to start incorporating my puppies in my videos. They're not actual puppies, they are dogs, but all dogs are puppies, and actual puppies are just called baby puppies. I know Julia Adams does a similar thing when she does her brow intermission. So it is like heavy inspiration from her, but we're not going to call it brow intermission. We'll just call it a little pup break. So we're going to take a pup break while I put on the mascara and run some brow gel through my brows. Good boy. Okay, brows and lashes done, and now I'm going in with my Rare Beauty pencil in the shade Humble. Some other new things is, before my trip, I had Botox in my forehead, so I still have some fine lines and stuff, but I used to have multiple larger lines when I raised my eyebrows. I did get Botox for migraines, so they put it across my forehead in between my brows, right here and in the base of my skull and in my shoulders. Up until a couple days ago, I had not had a migraine since I had the Botox, which is huge for me because usually I would get, 2 to 3 migraines a week. I'm also going to take the new Rare Beauty Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Happy. I bought this before the sale because I was worried they were going to sell out. This is a baby pink color. I get really bad menstrual migraines, so I have had a couple of migraines this past week, but that is much better than like every other day. So I'm sure you've heard people talk about these lip oils, and most people are upset because it's not a lip oil. I just don't think it's what we've become accustomed to. When we hear the term lip oil, it does have like an oily texture when you apply it, but it is a lip stain. And for spring and summer, I love a stain. This is kind of grody because it was in my bag, and I wore it almost every day in Italy. Even when I didn't wear makeup, I just wore like a light thin layer because I knew that when the glossiness wore off, it would still leave that color behind and I would have some color to my face. I personally like them. This pink shade might not be the best for this look, so I'm going to add a little of the other shade that I have, which is in Delight. It's a little more mauvey rosy. Let me show you. And that is the stain that is left behind, which just put some lip balm on it and it's really beautiful. Put Delight back on. Just be careful with your placement because if you place it somewhere and leave it for too long, it is a stain and it's going to stain. I'm actually going to take another liner you can get from Sephora. This is the Huda Beauty Lip Contour in Rusty Pink. And it matches this shade perfectly. And then I'm going to set everything in with the Cali Ray Surf Proof Setting Spray. Scent and PR, but it's super fine mist. It smells like coconut. Leaves you glowy and locked in. Love it. Love this eyeshadow. I'll definitely do a look for you guys if you want of just the eyeshadow by itself. So I only picked up 3 things from this sale this go around. I was trying to be good. So let's do a quick rundown of those 3 things. First off being the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. I think if you have any of her other powders that it's not a necessity, and I really feel like it didn't brighten me up as much as Sugar Cookie. I kind of do regret getting it, but I'm going to keep it because I do like the formula of the powder. Next is the KULFI Shadow. Woo! If you like cream shadows, you're going to love this one, okay? I want the teal light blue color, and I'm probably going to get it. I think the sale ends the day that I'm filming this, so I probably got it. Like I said, the longer it sits on my eyes, like the more intense the sparkle gets, and just in low lighting is going to be so beautiful. I did wear this the first time that I used it for more than 6 hours, and it gave me no issues. So definitely recommend a KULFI cream shadow. And then the last thing I picked up was the 24/7 ink little liner from Urban Decay. Finally, Urban Decay gives us something. It's so mean, but finally they give us something good. They've got to go back to the drawing board with their eyeshadows, but these 24/7 ink liners, at least in this shade, are really great. They have a green shade that I'm super interested in. It's like a grassy green color. And then the only other thing that I think people will care about is the Rare Beauty Tinted Lip Oils. These are not a traditional lip oil that's going to stay glossy on your lips. The gloss does wear away over time, but that color does stay. If you like a lip tint, you're going to love these from Rare Beauty. And if you're wanting just a gloss or something that's really conditioning like a regular lip oil, then these are not it. I appreciate you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of the things. And don't forget to check me out over here on my other socials. As always, be blessed, be kind, and we shall speak again soon. Bye!